Hey guys, how you doing? 𝗬𝘂𝗯𝐿 here. I've been sent a test flight demo version of Indian Naval Front, 1971 Indian Naval Front. Now you may remember my original review, which was based on the demo, where the flight mechanic of the aircraft was just so bad, basically, that it was unflyable. Now, there's so many things I want to say here. The game is only £12.79. Okay, so they're not asking the earth for the game, and I can't really vouch for how good the rest of the game is because I could never really get past that first bit where I was flying the plane and everything was back to front and I kept crashing. Now, respect to them, they have continued working on it, and as promised, they have introduced controller support. Now, 𝗦𝘂𝗧𝗏 Interactive Studios, Indian development team. They're an indie team, and I very much like to support indie developers. You know, these massive AAA companies that bring out crappy, broken games all the time. They've got loads and loads of fanboys that protect them from the real gamers, the real community who actually care about quality, etc. So, whilst this is not a hardcore simulation game, it is necessary that the game is playable and enjoyable. So I've had a little look at this. Basically, this is just a test flight and there's nothing else to it. What they've introduced is controller support, Xbox controller support. HOTAS doesn't work. I've tested it out on my HOTAS and unfortunately it doesn't recognise the joystick. I didn't bother trying the throttle because I thought if the joystick doesn't work, what's the point in the throttle, especially with this game? So we press space to start the engine, or basically to launch the deck jet, to launch the aircraft. A and D to roll left and right, except it doesn't actually roll. W and S to accelerate and decelerate. Now there's something really important I have to show you at the end of this video, so please do stay tuned to watch that. But what I'm going to do first is fly with just my mouse. So you've got your left to right, pitch up and down, and B for cockpit view, and right click for free look, okay? And left control to switch weapons. So this was unflyable before because of the way the mouse was, but now it's definitely playable now. 100% playable now. Okay, here we go. So we'll start off with this ship. Make sure we got some good shots on there. Now, did you notice how it exploded as soon as I fired a rocket? Now, this isn't the full game, and what I'm showing you here in terms of control is not in the game at the moment, but it will be coming to the game after people like me have had a chance to demo it and test it out. So you can see how long it takes to shoot this ship. There's a few things I need to highlight here. You can see we're hitting the ship. Target destroyed. Okay. But you can see already it's far more, I mean, hugely more playable. Completely different from what it was before. Pretty decent explosive stuff there. We're not talking AAA games. We're not talking, you know, realistic flight simulation or anything like that. What we're talking about is casual, relaxed, enjoyable gameplay. And I think now, just with that little change on the mouse being able to be inverted, that in itself has totally transformed this game. Pretty fun stuff, right? I think the aeroplane itself looks really good. I think that's what really gets me, is this aircraft. It's a beautiful aircraft, historically based. I do like it, and I think that's my key positive for this game, is this aircraft. So what I'm going to do, I've got a controller somewhere. Here we go. Now you have to forgive me because I don't play with controller very often, so my oh my god, okay, So all the flight controls are on the right thumbstick. I would like my attitude control to be on the left thumbstick. I'm not sure if that's adjustable or not. Oh yeah, this is going to be tricky. Okay, trying to do everything on the right thumbstick is horrible. They need to introduce... I'm not sure if this is going to go. Okay, so in order to fly this, I have to pull down on the thumbstick to go down and push up on the thumbstick to go up. That's the opposite of what a real aircraft joystick does. So that doesn't feel natural. Now there is something you can press. If I press Y, it inverts. There you go. So that has now inverted the Y axis. So that's pretty cool. That works even on the controller. So now that's the correct way round. But I would like to be able to control my pitch on the left thumbstick and the roll on the left thumbstick and the yaw on the right thumbstick, if that makes sense. So the yaw would be the rudder, which this game doesn't have, and it would be nice if they introduced that. And obviously you can't roll, so if I hard to the right, I'm not doing a roll at all. It just does, it basically turns into an automatic yaw, which is fine, but it's like room for improvement. Okay, so it's far better than it was, purely because they've introduced the ability to switch the y-axis. So it's far better from that regard, but the controls are on the wrong thumbstick, and I think they need to introduce, which is probably quite a bit of work for them, but they need to introduce the ability to pick your own control config setup in order for this to get like a maximum score, as it were. I'd love to be able to roll the aircraft. I'd love it if they introduced a rudder to the aircraft instead of what they've currently got, but at least now it is playable, it is flyable. But I don't know how to control. How do I control the speed? Right, down in the bottom left hand corner you see the green aircraft, and then you've got the speed and the altitude. Okay, now I'm going to drop the speed. This is the real problem with this game, the current problem. Okay, watch the speed. So we're now flying at 10 kilometers per hour. We're now flying at 3 kilometers to 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer per hour. I mean, we are falling, but that is not how aeroplanes fly. I think everybody knows that, right? So there's a bit of work to be done. As it is now, the game is definitely playable, and that for me is a huge step forward. So kudos to the developers for doing that, because the game can now be played. But if they're serious about making this the best game it can be, they need to add controller support so you can bind your own buttons as you wish. If they do that, they might be able to incorporate the option of adding a hot-ass controller, which will add to the immersion for the player. Furthermore, a rudder control is basically, you have pitch, you have roll, and then you have rudder. Do you see how when I roll to the left, it starts rolling and then starts turning? See that transition there? That only happens because they don't have a rudder control. So they've basically given you a little bit of roll, which then turns into a yaw. But there's no actual rudder control for this aircraft. Now, when I highlighted the issues with the game originally, they did say, you know, they're a very novice game development team. they don't really know everything about flight mechanics and so on and so forth. So this is a huge undertaking for them if they were to take it on. But they've got the game to the point where it's playable. If they want it to be really, really well received by the community, then I think that's the area they're going to have to go into. But yes, definitely an improvement. Get a thumbs up from me. The game is definitely playable now, whereas it wasn't before. And hopefully on Steam, if we go back to Steam, you can see that the reviews are mixed. 69% of the 33 reviews are positive, which means that they're really close to having a positive review here. And I think when they implement the changes that they've implemented with the controller, there's a chance, because people don't tend to come back and change their reviews after they've made them, but there is a chance that future reviewers will give it a thumbs up and say, yeah, you know, it's a good, casual, chilled out, arcadey style game. And I think there's every chance that they'll turn that mixed review into a positive review. And I hope they do, because the more indie dev teams that can make good games, I think is better for the gaming community. So yeah, gets the thumbs up from me. This video, I should have said at the beginning, really, predominantly this video is for the interests of the developers, and I'm not sure if I can make this visible to the wide public community. I'll check with them before I put this video live. But yeah, fundamentally, whilst I'm talking to my community whilst I'm making this video, it's actually intended for the developers' benefit, because they asked me to have a look and give them some feedback. So hopefully that's constructive feedback that helps them and benefits them. Maybe gives them a bit of food for thought for what they need to work on next. Maybe it doesn't. It's entirely up to them. You know, I'm just an independent reviewer giving my honest thoughts on the game. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Goodbye for now.